thought of moving makes you break out in a cold sweat, this episode is for you. Our guest today has personally moved over 30 times, and now she runs a team of all-female professional organizers who makes life's biggest transitions feel totally manageable. From downsizing to estate clearing to prepping your home for sale, this is move management like you've never seen before. I'm Tracy Mullin, and today I'm thrilled to introduce Sage Goldenberg, founder of the Moving Genie. She has 15 years of experience in professional organizing and move management, and her company helps families, seniors, and overwhelmed homeowners with one of life's biggest stressful events, moving. Sage, thanks for coming in today. I so appreciate it.
The pleasure is all mine, Tracy. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Sage, let's start with the basics. Tell me what the difference is, the Moving Genie versus a traditional moving company.
That's a great question, Tracy, and one that I get a lot. So a traditional moving company, we're all familiar. The guys show up on moving day with the trucks. They're going to, plan that you are ready to go. Everything's packed and ready for them, and they're going to get it in the truck and unload it on the other side. I say that my team likes to help fill in the gaps of a move because really what we're doing is we're coming in before. So sometimes with clients, they need decluttering. Sometimes there's items to sell or donate before we even put anything into a box. Then, of course, there's the pack up, which everyone knows about the pack up. And primarily, our team will come in just a couple days before the move. So one of the biggest differences in what we try to offer homeowners is shrinking a timeline, taking away the stress of the to-do list, and really being there for them, not only before the move, but after the move, so that they're settled into their new home and able to be there and enjoy it without the stress of all the boxes and the craziness that comes from moving.
Right. I have had so many clients that have needed your services, and we've met in the last year, and I have sent, my clients your way. And it's such an overwhelming experience for people. Some people have just lost their spouses and they are either, forced to move or they realize that their space is too big. Tell me about how you actually work with a client who's that emotional and needs your support.
Yeah. Emotion is always the kind of silent partner in the room that we're working with, right? Because clients, they know that they need to undertake this. They know that they need to get out of this house, but emotionally trying to take that on, especially by themselves, as you know, can take years or get to the point where the client is forced due to health reasons or other reasons where now they're under a different kind of pressure. So when we first meet a client, we always offer the consultation to understand where they are. Life's three stressors: death, divorce, and moving. As you pointed out, sometimes we find clients in two of those, always in one of those with moving. Sometimes the added layer of death and divorce creates another weight on top of it. What we do is we try to come in to be a solution, really understand what timelines are we looking at, what obstacles are we facing? Is there a client that feels as though going through this major downsize, they're just going to have to throw everything in a dumpster, or my kids don't want anything, right? You listen to all of these objections first,
right?
And then we try to offer solutions. So one of the biggest solutions that we have for clients is we can actually help them sell or donate a lot of their unwanted items. And once we start having that conversation, you see the stress start to melt a bit, because I think that people have this misconception that downsizing or decluttering means throwing away or just giving everything away.
Right.
And these are an entire lifetime of possessions, of treasures, of things they may have collected from their grandparents. And now you're saying, sorry, no one wants these, right? So being able to create a solution helps to loosen the grip a bit. And then really, we are the experts and we project ourselves as such. So we come in and with that confidence and with those to-do lists and other things that we're able to say, hey, we have that now. That really helps the client say, okay, I can do a big move like this. I have the support I need. My items are being treated with respect, whether they're moving with me or whether I have to get rid of them. And the Moving Genie, they'll take care of all of that for us.
Well, you must be such a savior for, young adults today are taking care of and managing their parents, their next move, their next transition. we don't say things the way you're going to say it.
Mhm.
We're pretty like, Mom, this just needs to be done this way.
Yep.
Right?
We're the third party, the non-judgmental third party that can come in. I mean, there's a lot of talk these days about the sandwich generation that's taking care of their aging parents. They're taking care of their young children. And you add something in like a downsize, it is going to create some family tension. We wear many hats at the Moving Genie, from unqualified therapists to marriage counselors to you name it. We come in and we try to be the voice of reason, but again, really listening to the client. Where are the objections that we're hearing, and how can we try to speak to those, not only for the client, but providing relief to the children, the adult children who have a million other things going on in their life as well, to let them know we have you covered. We'll keep you updated along the way and make sure that mom and dad are really happy as it happens.
Right. Well, some people have been in their homes 40 years.
Yep.
Trying to, get rid of clothes and items that we keep saying nobody wants these, Mom. But you must have a different way of expressing yourself than saying nobody wants this stuff.
Definitely.
Tell me how you do that. Tell me. I could use this even
Let
in
me
real
give you
estate
my
terms.
secret.
Give it to me.
Yeah. So it's true. Nobody wants them. But we try to come at it at a different angle of there is so much need in the city. And there is. We have a lot of need through the Durham region, through the GTA, throughout the country. And we just have to figure out how to get the things that they have into the hands of people who need them.
Oh.
And so that's where our goal comes in, whether we're doing this through auction sites like MaxSold, or we're supporting organizations like Furniture Bank or Dress for Success. We have a laundry list of organizations that they have a deep need. And likely what's in your clients' homes is something that they can use. So it's about pairing up the need with the things and then making sure that it's efficient for the client, it's effective. We help to maximize the value, whether it's through a dollar amount or through tax receipts. And so by explaining this process, again, clients are usually able to loosen the grip. They're able to get perspective on it, right? Because the $20,000 dining room set that you bought 30 years ago probably doesn't have a lot of value today, but let us figure out somewhere that it can go so it stays out of the landfill. And I think those conversations start to bring some perspective and allow the client to finally let go.
Well, it must make them feel so much better than their children telling them, Mom, nobody wants this stuff, right?
Yeah. Or Mom, let's pull the dumpster into the driveway. And she's going, no, I don't think, not today or ever.
I don't want my neighbors seeing me throw everything out.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no reason to. There's really no reason to. And when we help a client through a downsizing process, we can usually sell 90% of what's in their house.
Right.
And so that final 10% of donation or junk removal is so significantly less in cost or in landfill, all of it, whether it's financial cost, whether environmental cost, whatever it is, we're really trying to limit our footprint on that.
Tell me a little bit about MaxSold, because when you explained the system to me about the lots, explain that.
Yeah. So MaxSold has been a lifesaver in the world of downsizing because, again, I've been doing this for 15 years. And when I started, you could call all the consignment stores or furniture auction houses and they would take anything, right? The belts were loose and things were flowing. And then over time, the market has shrunk. People are living in smaller spaces. Furniture is harder to get rid of. And you realize you can't just call these places and donate them. So what do you do with that China hutch or that giant dining room set that you can't really even donate? MaxSold has been our solution. It's an online auction company. It actually started in Kingston here in Canada and has grown throughout the US. But it provides an option. You can sell the furniture, the china, the silver, but you can also sell the lawnmower, the linens, the dishes, the anything. Spare wood, you name it, we've sold it on MaxSold. And we had a few sales last week where we're selling almost $30,000 in contents for clients that they would have rolled a dumpster in and thrown it away.
Wow.
So that money is helping to offset the cost of this very expensive project. Moving's expensive.
Right.
Not only what you have to pay in your land transfer tax or in all the other real estate expenses, but just moving your contents from one house to another can be thousands of dollars. And so Maxwell provides this amazing space to not only get rid of what you want to get rid of, pass it along to people who love it and want it, but also to help you pay for what you really need to be doing, which is listing and selling your home and moving on to your next space.
Right. What I loved about Max Sold too is that you could put something that people really want, like a riding lawnmower, and then you're going to put 10 other items that you probably would not be able to get rid of.
Yep.
And make that person buy the lawnmower with those 10 items.
Yep, absolutely.
That's a great way of getting rid of things.
Oh, it's fantastic. We did, I think you and I were chatting about a big sale we did in Port Hope where we were helping to clear out barns of generational stuff, right? The grandparents first lived there, then the parents, then the kids are dealing with it. And everything just went to the barns because they were there. We have space, we'll fill. It's our human credo. We love it. And then it's time to sell the property and you have to clear it out. So we sold firewood with outdoor, lawn furniture.
Right.
Or everything you have. And in that space, we sold thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for the clients, for the estate to help offset the cost. But also, it wasn't just the riding lawnmowers that were sold. It was everything. Because you said, when you put the lots together, you go, great, take it all. It's all yours.
I was showing a house the other day and I went into the shed and the shed was so organized. Everything was hung up. It was all swept out. It was perfect. And I turned to the buyer and I said, oh, they even staged the shed.
Yeah.
And the buyer said to me, Tracy, this is not staged. This is habit. Tell me about how some people just have that habit of, getting rid of the stuff that they don't need and hanging things in the perfect order. Like, what about hoarders? Have you worked with hoarders? Like you're just talking about the barn, but you must have a lot of experience with dealing with people versus habit versus gathering.
Yeah. Well, and they're both habits, right? We either have a habit of continually sort of that one in, one out mentality. My shed's getting a bit full. Let me see what I no longer need. Most of us, though, tend on the other habit, which is, I don't know where to put this. I'll just throw it in the shed. And then we don't deal with it until we have to deal with it. I had a client that her husband was an appliance repairman. He kept every little bit and bob in the crawl space of the garage. There was a whole dishwasher. I mean, you name it, this man kept it. And he passed unexpectedly one day and left it all for his wife. And she's looking around going, I have no idea. I asked his friends to come. They took 10 things out of the garage. And now I'm left with a garage and a shed full. And if she had pulled a dumpster into the driveway, maybe she would have made a bit of money on the metal. Maybe she would have made a bit of money on this or that. But really, for the most part, she's just throwing it all away. Whereas Maxold allowed us to come in, create lots for her, take this absolute chaos that she was living in and help her monetize it and figure out not only how to monetize it, but not throwing away her husband's legacy, which some of us look in that garage and say, this is junk. She looks in this garage and says, that's my husband's life work.
Wow.
And to be able to find a space for that where we can resell it, we can donate it, and it can go back out into the world, that's creating peace for her as opposed to deep regret or anger or just total resistance of not leaving the house.
Right. So, every time I go on a trip, I call my youngest daughter, Kayla, and I say, I just want to apologize for all the stuff that I've left behind, just in case. So I know that it's, we don't need 4 shovels. We don't need 12 brooms. And that's what happens when we have space, we fill it.
Yep.
Right?
We do. It is we're pack animals, I think, by nature. We're hoarders by nature, and we have a fear of what if I need this it's true. You don't want to throw everything away. Our process has never been to go in and tell a client to throw things away. We don't know. We don't walk in your shoes and we don't know everything that you're doing or everything you have to experience. But we want to ask thoughtful questions to really get you thinking about it. on a day when it's snowy, how many people come out and shovel the driveway? Oh, just 2 of you? Okay. Why do you have 5 shovels? Do you need 5 shovels?
Right.
Maybe we can leave some on the curb and some people can, other people can enjoy the shovels, right? So really trying to understand, again, it gets back to the good questions. You've got to ask clients good questions, because if you ask them the right question, they're going to answer it for themselves.
Right.
They know. Right?
Yeah.
You know when you go into a space, I don't use this stuff. What am I doing? And so one of our biggest roles, really, I always say we're not coming on site to perform brain surgery or rocket science. What we do is something anyone can do.
Right.
You just need the accountability to do it. You need to set aside the time to do it.
Well, before I met you,
Yeah.
I used to organize all of this myself.
Yeah.
So I had packers that my sister-in-law would come in and pack up a client's items. But I can tell you, I've probably left a mess behind in some ways, because I didn't talk to the client the way you would speak to the client. So that's why this is such a great bridge for me to have a professional come in and work with the clients and really be able to have that soft approach to making sure that things are dealt with, not only in a timely manner, because that's what we think about in real estate. We think about time. We've got 6 weeks or we've got a month. We're always thinking in time.
Yep.
And to have someone like you come in and actually have that soft approach, explain to the client what's going to happen next, and the process is just been such a relief. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. It's such a pleasure. And I think for our team, I've built the Moving Genie to cater to real estate agents, because I understand the difference of a week or two in the market where we live can be the difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And things are changing so quickly now that when it's time to move, it's time to move.
Right.
And so we understand sometimes with downsizing clients, especially the idea of saying, okay, we have 6 weeks to get everything out of the house and to get you ready. And it's like, how's that going to happen? It took me 40 years to build this house.
And people don't do anything without a timeline.
Exactly.
They won't do anything without a timeline.
And they're also can't remember whose law it is, but they're going to shrink it down to whatever that very, very short amount of time is where they have to do something.
Right.
And that's where we can really be a lifesaver, because again, you don't know what you don't know. You have no idea. Everyone with a piano thinks they can call their school or their hospital and they'll take it. They won't.
No.
And when that reality sets in, then the panic starts, because it's like, oh, no one wants any of this. And from the time I bought it 40 years ago, things have really changed. And then you're stuck. And then that can be a real resistance to getting the house on the market or to make things happen so that they are getting top dollar for their biggest asset, their property.
Right. Not just their piano, because that is the biggest thing now is people don't want the pianos.
No one wants the piano.
Right.
I've run Maxwell sales
awful.
just to sell pianos, just to see if we can sell the piano. And we look around the house and say, what else can we throw into this sale? Because it's a beautiful piano, but no, it's not an easy sale. So providing those solutions.
We need more musicians in this world.
We need more musicians. We need bigger properties for pianos.
Exactly. Let's talk a little bit about estate clearing, because that is one of the biggest things that I'm seeing right now is we're getting calls from executors who don't know where to start. Is there a difference between downsizing and being the executor of an estate where you're still trying to resolve a problem, which is I have all of this stuff and I don't know what to do with it. And now a lot of people are working and they don't really want to be involved or handle that whole estate.
Yep, absolutely. So there's intersection and then there's differences, definitely. So I would say, obviously, one of the biggest differences between downsizing and an estate clearing is typically in the estate, you're dealing with the children or you're dealing with an executor. When you're doing a downsize, you're typically dealing directly with the client. But I would say the process all starts the same way. The first question, whether you're the client or an executor or a family member, is, have you taken what you want? Have you identified what you want to take, either moving to your new condo or house, or moving, moving out of the estate before the things are cleared out? Once that's identified and we have just the contents there, then we can take it through it's sort of a funnel. So at the top, we look at, is there any very expensive artwork that we need to be calling the Waddingtons and the Sotheby's of the world? Or can we go right into a max sold and start to filter these things through a sale for them? The mandate of every estate is to try to maximize the value for the estate. And so max sold and my team really come in hand with that, where we can say it's not just the few pieces of furniture or the few pieces of artwork. We can sell everything in the house. Estate lawyers and executors love that because that really helps them fulfill their need. And then from there, it's about clearing out the house. So whether that's a downsize or estate clearing, working with the real estate agent, is there anything you need on site to make sure that the house is staged properly? Asking those questions to make sure that we understand. But essentially at the end of the day, it's all taking it through that funnel to make sure we get as much dollar value or tax receipt value from it as we can.
Right. Well, I will have a lot of realtors following this podcast too. And I want to know, like, how do we identify when someone really needs the Moving Genie?
I would say everyone really needs the Moving Genie. And one thing that I'll say, we're not an all or nothing solution. So we don't have to come in only because you need to clear out the whole estate.
Okay.
We don't have to come in because you have to pack your entire house. A lot of clients will say, I'm really nervous about packing up breakable items, or I don't feel comfortable packing my artwork. No problem. We'll come in, we'll send a couple ladies for a day. We'll get all of that packed up and ready for you. You can focus on the clothes, the books, the kids' toys, whatever you feel comfortable with. So I think, again, having the conversations, we always start with a free consultation to really understand what the needs are. Clients from real estate agents are often coming to us in the form of pre-sale prep. You know, you have that lovely meeting with them. Maybe a stager meets you on site.
Right.
The client's left with 600 things they have to do prior to the stager showing up. And they're saying, oh, when am I supposed to do this? Then the stager may show up and those things aren't done. And you know where the domino effect goes from there. And it's never a good thing. So we really allow for timelines to be a reality. And, you know, you don't know when you leave a client's house and you leave that list with them, whether they're actually going to do it or not. And I often get calls, the panic call from an agent of, we have a stager coming tomorrow. The client's done none of the work that they need to do. Help.
Come now.
Can you come right now?
Send the cavalry.
Everyone you have, we need them right now.
Right.
And like I said, we've built the business. So there are ladies in place to say, yeah, we can come tomorrow and we can get those things moved and I can have a mover on site. And we become a lifesaver. We become the genies.
Right. So everyone should at least get the free consult. Why wouldn't you? Get the estimate. Find out. So many people don't even know a service like ours exists, much less what it costs, much less what we can do for you to make your life easier. So it's definitely worth the phone call. Right. And tell me about your territory. Toronto to...
Yeah. So I would say, sort of our main area we're working is Oakville to Oshawa, and then from the lake up to Newmarket and that area. But we find ourselves in Niagara sometimes. As I mentioned, we've been in Port Hope. So again, have the conversation, because especially if you're originating within those areas and then maybe moving out of the area, we try to keep as seamless a line as possible to make sure that you're covered from start to finish.
Right. So is this an in-home consultation, the first meeting, or can it be on Zoom?
So I would say 90% of the consultations we're doing these days are on FaceTime or WhatsApp video.
Oh, perfect.
That was one of the gifts of COVID, is that most people, there weren't many, but that was one. Most people are comfortable. They FaceTime with their grandchildren or their kids or somehow kept up with video. And so it makes it very fast. I could have someone call me this afternoon and say, can you just get on FaceTime? Sure, no problem. Let's flip over to FaceTime. I can see your space right now, as opposed to trying to juggle schedules and come on site. If there is a client that's not comfortable, or it would just be better to be on site, absolutely. We'll come on and offer that.
Well, we've set up FaceTime appointments before I even get to the client's house. I'll be like, I'm going to 10:30. It has an 8-car garage. I think I'm going to need you. Can you be available at 11 o'clock this morning?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, that's it. As an agent, it gives you so much power with the client, because instead of saying, I don't know what we're going to do about all of this, or let me call my mover and we'll put it all in storage and we'll deal with it after. That's not providing a solution for the client. That's providing a solution for selling the home, but the client still has all the stuff to deal with. And so to create a solution for the client lowers the stress levels at the beginning, which I think is is really important.
Right. Do you have a home organizing division too, where you'll just come in and help us organize our garages?
Yeah,
for my husband?
ma'am, absolutely. So that's our passion work, right? We are a team of organizers. We love creating calm from chaos. And this business started just with me flitting around the city, helping people in their garage or their basements. And so we often do that work too. Whether the clients moved recently, they've unpacked and they need now some help setting up systems, or they've just been in their house for a while and say, hey, can you come help us figure out what to do with our closet or our basement? We would love to help.
Right. Well, let's talk about this because you've moved 30 times. You're way too young to have moved 30 times. I thought I moved a lot. You've moved way more than I have.
I have.
How the heck have you moved 30 times?
Well, I would say the biggest thing is I'm American and we're different. Americans are, the American mentality is much more mobile. And I think for a couple of reasons. When we have more places to go, Canadians, we have about 5 cities in Canada where you would move, but really you're not moving away from your family and you're not moving away from your job. So we move maybe 4 or 5 times as Canadians. I know you've moved a bit more, but if you talk to the average Canadian, they're moving from whatever condo they moved into after university or after moving out of their parents' house into this forever home, larger home. They're there for 20, 40 years, and then they move back into a condo. So every time you move, it becomes a big deal because one of the unintended benefits of moving is it forces you to declutter.
Right.
It forces you to look at all of the items that you have and say, am I putting this in a box? And then unpacking it on the other side. If I'm not, I'm getting rid of it. And then it creates this process. When you don't have that built in and you've got space to store things, that's what you're going to do. So I would say in that experience from moving, it taught me how to just live this way. If you didn't,
that must be like lean and mean.
Lean and mean, lean and kind.
Lean and mean in terms of
you have to be ruthless.
Yes.
You have to be ruthless.
Not many Canadians are ruthless when it comes to their stuff.
Ruthlessness is not a Canadian trait that I come across very often.
Right.
But again, that's when it comes with loads of compassion. It comes with confidence and expertise, and it comes with resources and really being able to be a resource through this process. Yeah.
I just want to tell them about the first time that we met, actually. Yeah. You were driving on the 401 with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And you said, oh, I'm going to Oshawa tomorrow because I'm going to meet this realtor. And she said, oh, what realtor? And you said, Tracy Mullin. And she said, that's my friend.
That's one of my childhood friends.
Right.
And I think it just speaks to how small the world is.
Right.
Really. And I'm so grateful that we connected and have been able to really develop a relationship where you understand the benefits for your clients. And I think you're such a powerhouse and a mentor and a fantastic realtor in your own right. But to be able to offer these services to your clients just creates even more benefit for you and your team as you're working with clients and helping them through these challenging moves like a downsize.
Well, I am a very big believer in BNI, which is Business Networking International.
Yes, me
too.
And
you're a member of that. My daughter's a member of that, Kayla Bridgman, and Kevin Martell on my team is a member. So anytime I can refer something to someone in BNI, I know they're going to be good.
Yes.
I know they're going to be good.
Yes, same. And I've been a part of BNI now for 5 years. And then I just had Lee from my team joined actually Kayla's BNI group.
Right.
Because I am also a huge believer, not only in the benefit of referrals. Of course, we're all looking for more business and ways to grow our business. But I think even more than that, it creates solid partners that you can then refer to clients. And that's invaluable because I don't just want to be a resource for packing and unpacking and decluttering and downsizing. I want to be a resource for everything. I want my clients to think of me and go, oh, Sage recommended that really good painter. I wonder if she knows a good contractor or an interior designer. Or I've had a conversation with a client. They've said, I don't have a will, or my mom doesn't have a will. Do you know?
That's our next podcast, Wills and Estates.
Amazing. Well, within BNI, there's great referrals. And someone I know is going to return the phone call, give them the best advice possible, and really be a resource for them. So BNI, I think you and I both are.
Well, I love that you know that if they're in BNI, they most likely have a great business because that's the system with BNI. You're referring members to other members. So it's somebody that you can count on, someone that has a process, and someone that's business minded because not everyone would get into BNI. It would be too much work because it's like running a second business. There's a lot that goes into being a member.
Yeah, no, there absolutely is. There's expectations, right? When you come in, and there's lots of networking groups where you can just show up and have a good time and have a drink and have a nice conversation. But that's not BNI. BNI is there's accountability, and people expect you to do things. But as a result, the results are huge, and you really have meaningful connections, and it's worth the time every week. Because let's be honest, it's a time commitment too.
Yeah. Definitely, for sure. Well, let's get into the rapid fire, shall we?
Love it.
First of all, bubble wrap or wrapping paper?
I think paper. We are definitely paper fans. I think one, it's recyclable everywhere,
True,
which is great, and with enough paper and paper packing in the box, we don't use a lot of bubble wrap. So I can't quite say that bubble wrap today.
But bubble wrap is so much fun.
Bubble wrap is a lot of fun, especially the big bubbles.
Yes.
Yeah. And another material we use that I'll just throw in is Crubble, which is even more fun. We use it for artwork. It's craft paper with bubble wrap. Because most people don't know you should not be wrapping your canvas with bubble wrap. It leaves little indents on it. Especially
What's it called? Crubble?
Crubble. So craft paper and bubble. Crubble.
Interesting.
There you go.
Very interesting. Least favorite item to pack?
Oh gosh, least favorite item to pack. I would say a Lego. This is, Lego, and the Lego that's put together, and you've got, these sweet kids who spend so much time on this. And so, but we do it and we're happy to do it. But yeah, it's always nerve wracking, even more than the Lego.
I was playing Lego with my grandson yesterday, so I get it. They love those towers.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Most satisfying thing to organize?
Oh, the most satisfying thing to organize, I would say either a basement or a garage, because these are the forgotten spaces in the house. But I promise you, they are your workhorses. If they are not working for you, the house is not working for you. You need your basement. You need your garage to store things in. Otherwise, you're going to store it in your living room.
Right.
So, yeah.
Come and help me with my garage.
Yeah.
It needs help.
Anytime.
It needs help. I thought you were going to say, when I said most satisfying thing to organize, I thought you were just going to say somebody's life.
Oh, well, that too. I mean, yeah, anything really. But I would say people underestimate, they always show us the pretty spaces, right? Oh, can you help me with my closet? Can you help me with my kitchen cabinets? Of course, we can help with all of that. We love those spaces. But where it's going to make the most difference in your life is clearing out the storage and clearing out the basement, because then you have a place to filter items through.
Right. Honey, can you hear this? When the garage is chaos, your life is chaos. Anyways, next rapid fire. One thing you wish people would stop holding on to. What are they gripping so tight?
Oh, gifts. Gifts they've received from other people.
It is hard.
I can't tell you how many times we go into people's houses and you'll say, have you ever used this? Have you ever worn that? No. The answer is no. No. Okay.
But I'm going to fit into it.
Well, that too. There's that whole thing. But the gifts that other people buy you, they don't want you holding on to clutter in your house. If it does not serve you, pass it along. And that will make them happy. Right.
Makes sense. What's harder, moving a family or an estate sale? Getting an estate ready.
Moving the family. There's a lot of moving parts with moving a family. And it's, you want to make sure, because you're moving people's lives, there's high expectations for that for our team. And we really want them to feel as little stress as possible.
Right. So, and there's probably a lot of emotion that goes into, moving a whole family.
A lot of emotion, schedules, timing, right? There's a lot of moving pieces. Kids.
Don't mess up with kids.
Pets, right?
All the pets.
So lots of pieces to consider. Very fulfilling, but I would say definitely, yeah.
Right. Well, sometimes the pets rank higher than the kids. You know that, right?
They do. Well, we often have to remind clients, make sure your pet has somewhere to be on moving day, because showing up on moving day when the dog is still there is never good.
Not unless they fit into the purse.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Biggest moving day pet peeve. It was kind of funny that you mentioned the pet.
Yeah.
Pet peeve.
The pet on the pet peeve.
Yeah.
We always love dogs around. Just want to keep them safe. I would say the biggest pet peeve on moving day is really just underestimating what needs to be ready. I think a lot of people look around and go, oh, we'll save that for moving day, save that for moving day. And we have to remind clients a moving day moves very fast. When those guys show up, they're ready to go. And if they're standing around waiting for boxes or waiting for things to be packed, they're on the clock and you're paying for that. So really just helping a client be as efficient as possible so that the day doesn't drag on and they're not paying more than they have to.
Right. I had once where about 10 years ago, a client told the buyer, Tracy Mullin told me I didn't have to move out tonight. It was a Friday night. He thought he could move out on Saturday. I'm pretty confident that I did not tell him he could stay there till Saturday.
They really threw you under the bus there. Huh?
Right. If you had a real genie lamp, what would your first wish be to make every client's move a lot easier?
Oh gosh, one wish to make all of their moves easier. I think my one wish would be to wiggle my nose and get rid of all the things that they don't want.
Right.
Because that's the hardest part. The easy part is packing into a box what you want. It's making the decisions around what they don't want.
Right. What I would have said if I was the moving genie is that I'd put a little sage in my pocket.
I'll just sit up here on your shoulder and help you out.
Exactly.
A little sage in my pocket.
Sage, do you have any client success? We talked a lot about people that are hoarders and having a hard time, but what about a success story?
Yeah, absolutely. So just recently we were working with a couple in their 90s and they had not downsized from their 10,000 square foot home. And so this was a big move and they were moving into about 600 square feet. And so this process really involved a lot of listening, a lot of understanding from the client and the family, what they wanted to keep. And we were able to help the client not only sell some very high-end artwork to auction houses and helping them recoup thousands of dollars from that. We ran a very successful max sold sale for them where they sold all but one lot in the house, which was a lot of gift wrapping. So that was great. And we got them moved into their condo. And all of this happened while they were away on vacation in Florida for the summer or for the winter.
Wow.
So they didn't have to be a part of it. They didn't have to live through it. Their son, who lived out of the country, didn't have to come constantly to deal with it. We made the client money. We got them moved. They're there. They're happy. They're settled. So it really can be that easy.
Wow. So they came home from Florida and they just went straight into their new home.
They went right to their new home, never even went back to the old house. The house closed successfully last week. And the family can now move on.
That's an amazing success story.
Thanks, Tracy.
Well, Sage, thank you so much for your insight today.
Thank you.
That was incredible.
Thank you.
It really was a lot. It's a lot to unpack, isn't it?
It is a lot to pack and unpack, isn't it?
That's right. Well, Sage, thank you so much for coming in today. Maybe you could tell our followers where to find you.
Absolutely. So you can find us at themovinggenie.com, of course, online at our website and on all socials, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram at The Moving Genie. And if you'd like to reach out and set up a consultation or just talk to us a little bit about how to get this process started, go to our website, fill out a contact form. The conversation's free, and we would love to figure out how we might be able to help.
If you or someone you know is facing a move, a downsize, or an estate closing, please give Sage at The Moving Genie a call. She's an amazing resource, and they will bring their organizational compassion and processes to your move. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.